people who write poetry feel listened to and not judged.
How should a poem be constructed? Let me tell you a secret. There are no rules.
Through poetry, you can honestly examine your own experience in life.
It will serve as a journal.
Poetry, what it does, it helps you understand your own relationship to the world. It helps you understand your own thoughts. Poetry allows you to focus on the essence of it all, so you don't get confused. Getting clarity on what is going on with you oftentimes can be triggered by writing a poem about the given situation. And when you're practiced in poetry a little bit, your brain understands its value. Its value is simplifying. Its value is making something simple out of complex. Who cannot use that today in our weird, strange, information-filled, chaotic world? Preparing the weights to lift in the morning.
Morning. Prepping the weights.
Why not? Preparing the weights to lift in the morning helps me to focus on everything I would like to grow with. Smaller plates and big ones, I need them to fit. Creating the resistance, I need to be fit. So as you can tell, you can bring it in anywhere. Doesn't matter what you do. The mundane moments. It's not that simple, but it makes your brain work. So I feel like my brain just came on fire. And when my brain comes on fire, I know I am in the moment. I am right here, right now. Traditional tribes create art. They tell stories. They use poetry to give over their wisdom to the next generation. And why poetry? Simple. Because it is easier to remember something that rhymes versus when something doesn't rhyme. So when you try to retell a story, it is easier to do it when it rhymes, easier to remember it for your mind. That's the point. And while you're writing poetry, you're actually examining your own life. You're focusing on your own experience and you're expressing it. And as you're expressing it, you're contemplating over it. And when you contemplate, you're spending time of turning your attention inward and understanding yourself. And while you're doing that, you're improving. You're able to learn and focus on moments, events in a condensed way. You cut away the fluff and you learn to focus on the essence. That is what poetry, essentially.
I went over my poem books that I wrote throughout the years, and it was like a time traveling. So I wanted to read one poem here. It's called Sweet Stink. This is from 2002 Hollywood. I'm looking at you, I'm talking to you. You're cold, smell like smoke. You look ugly, dark, manly. No feelings and rigidity. You're stuck in your hinge. You change your voice every time you meet some new. And I still love you. You, my only channel to the world that is so sweet to me. I ache to get to you every night, into your calming, comforting arms. Rock me. Oh thou art of my sweet street telephone booth. The story behind this is that I just moved from Canada to the US and I was alone. I didn't really know anyone here. And every night I went to the same telephone booth and my parents called me always at the same time. It was a street telephone booth and I was always so happy to talk to them. I was always so excited to go to this telephone booth, which is still there today. It just takes you back. It still exists. Yeah, it's still there.
And it is safer to expressing yourself symbolically. That's the beauty of poetry. It is so personal, yet you feel comfortable putting it out there because no one will understand it beside you. It's a therapy which is safe.
What do you think about poems?
I used it so much as a form of expression when I was a teenager because I had so much going on inside me and I didn't know like who to talk to or how to get it out. And it was also just part of the actress inside of me and my obsession with Shakespeare and his sonnets. So yeah, I've always loved poetry as a form of an emotional expression.
Release, almost,
A
right?
release.
We used to write poetry, and probably, let's not say used to, let's say we write poetry in special
Wow.
moments when we go on trips together. And we used to write that she wrote one line, and I wrote,
yeah.
and I wrote another, and then we went back and forth like that. And always the goofiest poems that came around. Okay, so let's see what we can learn from some websites about poetry. Oh, by the way, I do have someone else in the room. Yep,
Yep.
the laughing machine. People who write poetry feel listened to and not judged. People who write poetry feel listened to and not judged.
Also makes sense.
It makes sense. That free expression, that is priceless, because how many places in the world you can truly say what you would like, the way you would like it, that expresses exactly where you're at. It's very difficult to do. We always need to wear those masks. And when you write poetry, remove the mask and you put a symbolic version of your ideas on paper. Now, I think this is important. Through the expression of our thoughts and ideas, poetry pushes us to challenge ourselves intellectually. That helps critical thinking. You have an idea, you think about it, and as you're thinking about it, you're analyzing it. The benefits of poetry for professionals. Poetry teaches us to wrestle with and simplify complexity. This is why it is useful for businesses to encourage people to write poetry, because we can overcomplicate things. And when you're forced to express yourself in the shortest possible way, it trains your brain to focus on the essence of things and not overcomplicate, like how I usually do when I say these things over and over and over. That's why I'm practicing poetry.
Okay, and finally, but not least, please share if you dare. And if you care, subscribe. And we will continue to prescribe content that will help you to thrive. You don't need to take my word for it. Again, try it out yourself and see what it does for you. See what it does to you. I love what it does for me.
You can just simply write the way how it feels right for you.
Thank you for watching.
Simplest way of journaling is writing poetry.